Let's get a more positive one up. Let's do that. I think we need a little bit of positivity because everything else we cover on this channel is extensively negative. So, fan art, and then we're going to talk about polyamory. This one is from Mr. Stopples. I was binging through videos, and at some point, I heard something about hooves and satyrs, and I needed to pause to not burn myself out on animation. So I took a little break to sketch out a satyr Suris design for a brain stretch exercise. Aw, it's a satyr. The next one we have here is from Axo that has cream. Human Blizzy with goggles. Look at this baby boy. Wow. Blizzy, you glue up. The next one we have here is from Stoffles again. Did a bit more brain stretch designing. He made a quick redesign of Satyr Suris. Once I get free time, I'm going to color this one in digitally, I think. Well, we'll have to see how that all turns out. As always, everyone, thank you all for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop into the fan art section of the Discord. With that said, if you haven't subscribed already or hit the bell notification icon, please consider doing so, as well as maybe checking out my Patreon. With that all said, let's go ahead and get into the topic at hand. A New York judge rules in favor of polyamorous relationships. That's kind of big. Kind of big. Let's talk about why that's important before we get into the actual article itself. So, for those who don't know, in most places in the United States, polyamorous couples have no real recompense if they want to spread out more than just as two people. If they want to end up dating more than just themselves, when they want to actually have more people in their polycule, which is the word that's used for a group of multiple people in a polyamorous relationship, there's no way for the state to recognize that in most cases. And in most cases as well, the closest thing you might get is somebody going, "Oh, do you mean polygamy?" And it's just them talking about the dude marrying multiple wives, and then we get some people talking about the fucking Sister Wives show. These are things that I've dealt with. I've had these conversations with people when I've introduced multiple partners to them before. It's been an interesting ride being polyamorous in the South. I will say that. But basically, whereas if you are straight, heterosexual, gay for at least the next, 360 days? It depends on when the Supreme Court rules decide to come down and screw everybody over again. If you are in a relationship and you want the tax benefits as well as the legal benefits of being in a relationship recognized by the United States government, the only real way that you've been able to do that as a polyamorous group is to not. Technically, that's not entirely true. There has been a way to network like adoptions together that will give you some of the same legal protections. But come on, you don't want to. There's something that feels weird and wrong about having to use the adoption legal system to get the big legal benefits of being with a partner that you may or may not be fucking. Like, I'm sorry, there's a thing there that feels weird and wrong, and I don't like it. And I know that it's, as with any relationship, it's a piece of paper. It doesn't really change anything. But the fact that people have had to resort to that in the past to get legal benefits, this was a thing that the gay community had to do for the longest time in order to get the same legal benefits and tax benefits that they would get in a regular relationship. Yeah, temporary points out gay people did it for decades. It feels weird when you have to explain to somebody like, "Hey, this is my partner. They have been with me for X amount of time. Also, technically, they're my son and or daughter." Like, technically speaking, as far as the state is concerned, And that feels like a really restrictive situation to put someone in. It's a weird, yikesy situation to put someone in. But yes, it is probably the best legal way to legally have somebody be called your daddy. But that's, joking aside, it's not okay that people have to use that kind of a method in order to gain legal protections that cis and hetero people tend to have normally, all the time, in most situations. And mono people as well. If you are cis, heterosexual, and monogamous, you're in the privileged position of everything just kind of aligning for you. But if you're gay or poly right now, gay for the last few decades, we haven't really had those same advantages. You've always had, in a polyamorous relationship, you've had to kind of maneuver around it, like really, really awkwardly. Just think about this. The 4 people in a relationship, all nesting partners. Nesting partner meaning that you live with them. And y'all want the legal benefits of being married. Now, you have to select one of your 3 partners to get married to. And sure, those other partners, the 2 that are left over, could get married to each other. Maybe, possibly. But what if they're not the ones dating each other? And it's just a giant issue. And what if your group has an odd couple of people? Are you just always going to have one person who's left out and won't receive legal benefits? Like, what do you do there? The answer is you cry. There's just not a whole lot you can do. Shoutout, thank you for redeeming your points for an owl. So, while I will say, and I've always said, I do not think that marriage makes a relationship legitimate. I also think that it is perfectly logical to maintain that position while also maintaining the position that marriage gives legal benefits that should be accessible to all. So, with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the article. I've given my spiel, my rant. That could have just been its own video. New York City's eviction court, the venue of landmark same-sex relationship decisions long before Obergefell versus Hodges, which is the one that the Supreme Court used for determining same-sex marriage, is now the source of a legal opinion that comes down clearly on the side of polyamorous unions. The decision came in the case of West 49th Street, LLC versus O'Neill, decided by New York Civil Court Judge Karen May Bakdayan, concluded that polyamorous relationships are entitled to the same sort of legal protection given to two-person relationships. The case revolved around 3 individuals. Scott Anderson and Marcus O'Neill lived together in a New York City apartment. Anderson held the lease, but was married to another man, Robert Romano, who lived at another address. After Anderson died, the building's owner contended O'Neill had no right to renew the lease, since he was just a roommate of Anderson's and not a non-traditional family member. The court concluded that there needed to be a hearing about whether Anderson, Romano, and O'Neill were in a polyamorous relationship. Before gay marriage was legalized in any state, Brasky versus Stahl, Essex and Co. was decided in 1989 and made the New York State of Appeals the first American appellate court to recognize that a two-person same-sex relationship is entitled to legal recognition. Yes, so they were roommates. Brasky is widely regarded as a catalyst for the legal challenges and changes that ensued. Bakdayan wrote in her opinion, by the end of 2014, gay marriage was legal in 35 states through either legislation or state court action. Obergefell versus Hodges in 2015, the seminal Supreme Court decision that established same-sex marriage as a constitutional right, was also heralded as groundbreaking. However, wrote Bakdayan, Brasky and its progeny and Obergefell limit their holdings to two-person relationships. This prevents the distinct and complex issue of significant multi-person relationships. The judge cited legislation enacted since the advent of federally recognized same-sex unions. In February 2020, the Utah legislature passed a so-called bigamy bill, decriminalizing the offense by downgrading it from a felony to a misdemeanor. Okay, let's see here. I wonder what the information is on that, because I don't know it. I want to pull that up real quick. SB 102 Bigamy Amendments. It reclassifies the crime of bigamy as an infraction. Okay. So that definitely changes that a little bit. For those who don't know, bigamy is the act of going through a marriage ceremony while also married to another person. So if you were polyamorous and married to your partner, and you started dating another partner, and a couple of years down the road you realized you didn't want to leave them, if you wanted to get married to them, that would be considered bigamy, and that would be against the law. But that changes a little bit. Also, in my tired, sleep-deprived brain, guess what I realized? I can change myself to get more blue by highlighting things. Dynamic lighting. Anyway, in February 22, the Utah legislature passed the bigamy bill decriminalizing the offense. In June, in Somerville, Massachusetts, there was an ordinance passed allowing groups of 3 or more people who considered themselves to be family to be recognized as domestic partners. The neighboring town of Cambridge followed suit, passing a broader ordinance recognizing multi-partner relationships. The law has proceeded even more rapidly in recognizing that it is possible for a child to have more than 2 legal parents. Why then, posited the judge, except for the very real possibility of implicit majoritarian animus, is the limitation of 2 persons inserted into the definition of a family-like relationship for the purpose of receiving the same protection from eviction according to legally formalized or blood relationships? Is 2 a code word for monogamy? Why does a person have to be committed to one other person in only certain prescribed ways in order to enjoy the stability in housing after the departure of a loved one? The attorney for the property owner characterized defendant O'Neill's affidavit claiming himself as a non-traditional family member as a fairy tale. The case returns to court after further investigation of the 3 individuals' relationship. Oh boy, howdy. I have another one on this as well. I'm going to take a look and see if maybe there's any more information in this one. The usual explanation is because Jesus. I wonder if because Jesus holds up in court. Do you feel like a judge just laughs you out of the courtroom when you do that? Well, because my God. Sir, you don't understand. In this courtroom, I am God. Like, come on. You know there's got to be a power trip that happens there. Also, to Shaw, thank you for redeeming your points from Owl. Sir, this is not a Wendy's, and here I have authority. So this just has the same information, it looks like. Real possibility of implicit majoritarian animus. Why does the person have to be committed? Okay, so it's the same stuff. It's the exact same article. It's the same information. Let's see here. When anything goes, folks, anything goes. This is what happens when social constructs are trashed and discarded. This ruling, as absurd as it is entirely consistent with recent leftist decisions. Seth Kaufman, could you not be a cuck on the internet live for us all to laugh at? Could you manage that? I'm sorry, but polyamorous relationships existing does not mean anything goes. Poodle McPhee says this is the kind of left-wing judicial ruling that will eventually result in allowing children to be abused. What do you mean by that? Could you go into fucking detail? We need to rebel against this out in the weeds, dreamy, anyone is a family nonsense that will hurt individuals, as well as our greater society. Is everybody who responds to this like a sad cucked boomer? So now not being married is a disability, according to the Supreme Court. Wait till all the lawsuits swamp the courts, and there'll be a shortage in... Wait, what? Who the fuck said being not married was a disability? When did that happen here? Did you read the article? So what's next? Allowing a polyamorous person to add as many lovers as they want on their health insurance policy? Can we talk about that one, please, for a moment here? Can we talk about that? A polyamorous person can add as many people as they want on their health insurance policy? No. You, Mammy Ethel? Dumb fucking name. Can we have a conversation about this? You and me, one-on-one, please? Please. Because we need to talk about how health insurance shouldn't be a fucking thing, and healthcare should just be a human right. So if your fixation is on that, maybe get your head out of the neoliberal and or conservative gutter. One or the other. Please, kindly fuck off the internet. Here, embarrassing moments stay. Literally forever. Insanity. Judges are running the country. Jesus Christ. Does this mean now that common law marriage that was not legal in New York is now legal also? This judge is just making stuff up. No, they're not. It's not their job to. Fucking hell. Vet care is really expensive. Would love to put my 2 dogs on my husband's healthcare plan. We all sleep in the same bed, so I suppose that would satisfy some burden of proof? What the fuck? Are you telling us that you're fucking your dogs? Because if we're talking about polyamorous relationships, and you're bringing up your dogs here, and you're talking about relationship-wide healthcare plans, I'm sorry, Stacy, but that sounds about like you're fucking your dogs. Jesus Christ. There's no end to this do-as-you-please culture. I'm sorry, is it that bad that people get to be happy? Is it that bad that people get to be loved? Like, what? The fuck? These comments provide more content than anything else. How do you get to a point in your sad, pathetic existence that other people being happy with their lives is somehow a threat to your reality? How do you get to that point? How are you that sad? These people seem strangely anti-freedom. Yeah, this is America, land of the free, home of the idiots. We eat hot dogs here. The hamburgers, we devour them. The freedom, we drink it. At least that's the narrative that I was fed when I was a child. Polyamory is just another extension of that freedom. So shut the fuck up, you America-hating commie. Or whatever would work on you. I don't care. This is an insult. It's not meant to change your mind. It's meant to dunk on you. Anyways, I'm going to stop arguing with people who probably don't exist on the internet. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section below about this. I see nothing but positivity here. Except the comment section. That's where we see a whole bunch of sadness. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe. Don't hurt yourself. Drink some apple juice. Insert end of video tagline here.